The richest man in the city lay perfectly still on his bed, pretending to be asleep. He wanted proof that the timid young maid everyone called invisible could be trusted. He expected curiosity. He expected greed. He even expected betrayal. But what he witnessed instead made his chest tighten with shame and left him unable to move as tears quietly filled his eyes. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Every act of support helps our community continue sharing stories that remind us humanity still exists. Alastair Hayes had spent 15 years building one of the country's largest technology companies. Magazine covers called him brilliant, fearless, and unstoppable. His employees described him as demanding but fair. Very few people knew the truth. Success had cost him friendships, family gatherings, and nearly every chance to trust another person. After discovering that a former employee had stolen confidential company information, Alastair found himself questioning everyone's intentions. Even the people who worked inside his own home became subjects of silent suspicion. Among them was 23-year-old Clara Whitmore, a shy maid who had joined his household only 6 months earlier. She never spoke unless spoken to, arrived before sunrise every morning, and treated every room with extraordinary care. The other staff admired her honesty but wondered why such an educated young woman accepted a simple housekeeping job. Clara never answered questions about her past. She only smiled politely and continued working. One bright spring morning, Alastair decided to conduct a foolish test. He purposely scattered several expensive belongings across his bedroom. His luxury watch rested beside a thick envelope containing cash. A priceless family pocket watch lay half-hidden beneath a pillow. He then lay on the bed with his eyes closed, breathing slowly as if deeply asleep. Minutes later, Clara gently knocked before entering. She immediately noticed the room was unusually untidy. Instead of rushing around, she moved carefully to avoid making noise. She folded the blanket that had slipped to the floor and quietly picked up a glass that could easily have shattered. Then she saw the envelope. She froze. For several long seconds she simply stared at it before carefully lifting it with both hands. Alastair silently waited for the sound of paper opening. Instead, Clara walked directly to the bedroom safe, placed the envelope beside it where it could not accidentally be overlooked, and whispered that it was safer there because someone else might enter later. Then she noticed the antique pocket watch. She gently polished the fingerprints from its surface using the corner of her cleaning cloth before placing it inside a velvet case on the bookshelf. Her movements were filled with respect, almost as though she understood it carried memories rather than value. Just as she prepared to leave, she glanced back toward the sleeping CEO. His blanket had slipped from one shoulder. Without hesitation, Clara quietly walked over, carefully covered him, adjusted the pillow supporting his neck, and stepped away with a small, compassionate smile. She softly murmured that everyone deserved to rest, even those who believed they had no time for it. The word struck Alastair harder than any business negotiation ever had. He remained motionless until the door closed. For the first time in years, he felt ashamed of himself. Instead of testing honesty, he had tested kindness. Over the following weeks, Alastair began paying closer attention, though not secretly anymore. He noticed Clara preparing extra meals for the elderly gardener whose arthritis made lunch difficult. He saw her repairing torn children's books before donating them to a neighborhood library. Every Friday afternoon, during her break, she quietly visited a rehabilitation center for injured veterans, reading stories to patients who had no family nearby. None of these acts were performed for praise. She believed no one noticed. One afternoon, curiosity finally overcame him. He invited Clara into his office and thanked her for her dedication. She looked genuinely surprised. As they spoke, Alastair discovered Clara had graduated with top honors in literature. Years earlier, her father had suffered a severe stroke, leaving the family overwhelmed with medical bills. She abandoned plans for graduate school and accepted whatever work she could find. Becoming a maid had never embarrassed her because, in her words, honest work was always honorable. Those words lingered in Alastair's mind for days. He began questioning the values that had guided his own life. He had spent years measuring people by resumes, wealth, and influence while overlooking compassion, resilience, and integrity. Determined to correct his mistake, Alastair quietly established a scholarship under another person's name, ensuring Clara could continue her education if she wished. When she learned about the opportunity, she nearly declined, believing someone else deserved it more. Only after much encouragement did she accept. Months passed. Clara attended university classes during the afternoons while continuing part-time work in the mornings. Her confidence slowly blossomed. She laughed more often. She contributed thoughtful ideas whenever conversations drifted toward books, education, or community service. The mansion itself seemed brighter. Other employees became inspired by her quiet generosity. Staff members organized volunteer weekends, donated clothing, and started helping local shelters together. One person's kindness transformed an entire household. Then unexpected tragedy struck. A fire severely damaged the community library where Clara volunteered every weekend. Hundreds of donated books were destroyed. When Alastair visited the site, he expected to find despair. Instead, he found Clara encouraging volunteers with determination shining through smoke-covered cheeks. She wasn't mourning what had been lost. She was already planning how to rebuild. Watching her coordinate neighbors, students, business owners, and retired teachers reminded Alastair that true leadership required compassion before authority. The following week, his company announced funding for a completely new public learning center equipped with classrooms, computers, reading spaces, and children's programs. During the opening ceremony, Alastair admitted something few expected. He confessed that the project existed because one quiet maid had unknowingly taught a billionaire what success actually meant. The audience stood in heartfelt applause. Clara lowered her head, overwhelmed with emotion. Years later, the Learning Center had helped thousands of children discover opportunities their families never imagined possible. Clara became its director, combining education with community outreach, while Alastair transformed his business philosophy around empathy and service rather than endless profit. Their friendship remained built on mutual respect, trust, and gratitude. Neither had changed the other's life through grand speeches. It had started with a blanket gently placed over someone pretending to sleep. Before we reach the end, we'd love to hear from you. If you were in Alastair's position, what lesson would have changed you the most? Please leave a meaningful comment sharing your thoughts about kindness, trust, or second chances. Your words may encourage someone else who needs hope today. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Because sometimes the greatest test doesn't reveal another person's character, it reveals our own. And the quietest acts of kindness often become the loudest lessons our hearts will ever hear.